I have a little bit of a different perspective. So I grew up in Bosnia in the 90s, and it was a wartime, so very little exposure to the outside world. And I knew who Michael Jordan was, and barely had any electricity, would listen on the radio, and he brought the game global where, it wasn't before him. So to me, there's no debate the impact that he's had.
Global.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I would say, Key. I agree with him, but basketball is more of an international sport. Football is an American sport, and I know that Tom Brady is the best quarterback to ever have done it. But at the end of the day, just basketball, the footprint is so much more expansive. I mean, it's funny, I know we always talk about basketball. When we start looking international, though, it's basketball is just, it's aggressive. It's all over the world. And we have international players that get recognition all over the planet.
I would say that this year, Jay, you well know this, but this year NBA rosters, there were 107 players from foreign countries to accentuate what Jay said about being an international game. And let's be honest, I'm being a little facetious here, but I really don't think I am. 2 countries in the world play American football. The United States and Canada. That's about it, right? But basketball is a global game as evidenced by those 107 players. Sean is in Connecticut. You're on ESPN Radio. Sean, GOAT, team sports, all-timer.
Thank you. All right. Well, first I want to shout out to Keith because I've been a Bucs fan since I was about 6 years old, and I've been suffering in New England for a while, so this is a pretty good day for me. Anyway, Jay Will said that MJ, I think, was the GOAT because he was undefeated, but he wasn't really undefeated, was he? He spent the first 10 years losing. So you want to say he's 6 for 6. He's really 6 for, 18 years that he played? And Tom Brady's been to the championship 10 out of the 20 years he's been a starter. So I think that he loses that just, you can't say that he's undefeated when he spent 10 years losing to start. That's all I got.
That's a distinction with the difference. That's like saying Montana was a loser except for those 4 times he got to the Super Bowl. I respect what you're saying, but you know what I mean? It's a little bit of an odd argument.
But that's why I don't even really get into these arguments, conversations with people when they start trying to identify who the greatest of all time in their sport is. I'm like, dude, Montana was undefeated. We know what Brady has done. He's been to 10 Super Bowls and have won 7. Elway's won his fair share. Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I'm just really happy to be able to see him play and enjoy it. I'm not the one to ask that question because I ain't going to never say, oh, he's the greatest of all time. That's not who I am.
Right. You're not here to diminish greatness. No. You're here to accentuate greatness.
Exactly.
From Michael Jordan to Michael Tannenbaum. Can I call him that? Very formal. Mike Tannenbaum, the ESPN.
What a transition.
The ESPN front office insider joins us this morning on the Goodyear Hotline, brought to you by Goodyear, helping you discover the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. Mike, let's just start with the poll question for you because you're kind of cross-pollination. You're an agent. You've represented basketball players. You made your living in football. Who's the GOAT of all team sports?
Oh, it's Tom Brady, and then draw a line. Jordan's probably second for me. But what he did last night, when you consider no offseason program and they just start no preseason games, little bumpy, they go 7-5 and go undefeated, and you take 60, 70 people when you factor in players, coaches, staff, and you win a championship, that is really remarkable. He now has 7 rings more than any other franchise.
Mike, where does this one for Tom rank among his championships in your eyes?
Key, I'm sure when he gets time to reflect sometime in the coming weeks or months, this has to be up there, be with his first one when they beat the Rams in the Superdome. I would just say that this is such a remarkable accomplishment when you think guys like Antonio Brown he had never played with before. Gronk was out of football, and they cobbled this together, and he set the standard so high. And, we talk about things like force multiplier or aura association, and I know we'll get into it down the road with players like Deshaun Watson, but that's why certain players are so transformative. It's not only what he did on the field, but it was off the field. He made that organization a winner, something they haven't done, Key, since you had been there, going back 15, 20 years. So it's really remarkable. And again, I think his impact on the organization is way beyond the stat sheet.
So this didn't come from me. It came from our producer, Evan. I'm going to ask this, though. He wants to know how jealous you are that Tom Brady was able to put together a Super Bowl championship as a general manager. He's calling Tom Brady a general manager. I'm not calling him a GM. In one season, more so, he says, than you did your whole career. Didn't come from me. It came from our producer.
It's cold-blooded, Mike. It's cold-blooded.
Totally fair. Look, I knocked on the door a couple times, as you guys well know. Tom Brady was unbelievable, again, off the field because players want to play with him. And you talk about moving the story forward. They have a number of free agents, guys like Shaq Barrett, Gronk, AB, Fournette. But when you practice and play on natural grass, which players love, you have perfect weather like you do in Tampa. You have no state income taxes, and you have a chance to win because Tom Brady's your quarterback. Yeah, he's a great GM, and that's why they're going to be right in the mix next year as well. And it's a perfect combination. And as long as they could protect them, and that's what we saw last night, guys, the difference in the game was up front. Tampa was able to protect Tom Brady, and Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, for the first time as a Chief, didn't score because Tampa Bay consistently got pressure with 4 players.
Wait, Mike, are you forecasting that Tampa Bay is going to win it again next year? Is that your prediction right now?
Well, I don't know if they're going to win it, but they will be right in the conversation. When you look at the NFC, obviously the Saints will take a step back, moving on from Drew Brees. Who knows who comes out of the NFC East? Green Bay will be there, but beyond Green Bay, I think it's very realistic for Tampa to get back. Unlike Kansas City, where Patrick Mahomes' cap number starts going up significantly, Tom Brady's cap number is more flat. So I think they have a chance to keep more players. And again, going back to Tom Brady being the general manager, players will take a little bit less money because of 2 things. 1, they're paying less in taxes, so it's more money in their pocket. And 2, they feel like they have a real chance to win.
Wow, Tom Brady back in the Super Bowl again at 44 years old. Let's go to the Chiefs side for a second, Mike. So much is going on. Andy Reid's son having that car accident. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes having a toe injury, the O-line decimated. Where do the Chiefs go from here?
Yeah, first of all, our thoughts are with the victims of that unbelievable tragedy that I think we'll find out a lot more in the coming days. They have some really big decisions. They have a couple of really good players that are up. Sammy Watkins, who's a great receiver when he's healthy. Daniel Sorensen, who's a little bit of an underrated starting safety for me. He's a free agent. And Patrick Mahomes' cap number goes from $5 million to $24 million. So we know over time their nucleus is going to shrink. Travis Kelce will be there. Tyreek Hill will be there. But other players will have to graduate. And I think the one thing we saw last night, if Patrick Mahomes has any kryptonite whatsoever, is the pass rush. And he looked last night like a young, inexperienced player where he was under duress. He was never comfortable in the pocket. He bailed out quite a bit. And that offensive line has to come back healthy. And that's where it all starts. And Coach Reid knows that. And I'm sure that'll be the focus of their offseason.
Mike, now that the season is officially over and we're starting to get ready for the 2021 offseason, if you were the general manager of the New York Jets right now, what is the asking price for Sam Darnold if you wanted to move him?
It's a second-round pick because he's a player that's started the league key. He has not shown greatness, and it's very similar to what we saw with Josh Rosen leaving Arizona and being traded to the Dolphins. Top 10 pick, new coach comes in. In that case, it was Cliff Kingsbury. This case, it's Robert Saleh. A second-round pick, I think, would be a fair price.
Just a 2? That's it? Wow.
Well, Key,
what about Carson Wentz? Go ahead.
I was going to say, Carson wants to be maybe a little bit more because he's played at a higher level. But I think a second-round pick based on his body of work. And if I'm Joe Douglas, part of that conversation, though, is I'm going to take whatever I can get for Sam Darnold and add it to my 4 first-round picks. I'm calling Nick Caserio, the Houston Texan guys. I am not taking no for an answer because if I can get Deshaun Watson, I am not acquiring a great quarterback. I am acquiring the next Derek Jeter. I'm going to own New York for the next 10, 15 years with maybe Kevin Durant and what's going on with the Nets. And I am changing my franchise. So Sam Darnold's been good. Deshaun Watson is great. And he's a great face of your franchise, both on and off the field.
It's been an unexpected offseason already. We're just hours into it. We already saw Jared Goff, Matt Stafford. As our colleague Adam Schefter, who's going to join us a little bit later this morning, said it could be an unprecedented movement at the quarterback carousel. And Mike will be here to take us through the entire offseason. Promises to be an offseason unlike any other after a season unlike any other. Mike, appreciate the perspective this morning.
Just remember, Mike, that wasn't me.
It was our producers, Mike.
It was our producers.
Noted. Duly noted.
In Mike's defense, he did get to 2 straight AFC Championship games.
Oh, don't try to come
now
on
you gonna try to come on. Yeah,
no, Evan. No, you can't do that.
Never got over the hump.
Oh, jeez.
We're not here to hang conference championship banners. We're here to hang Super Bowl
I seen
champions.
somebody recently hung like a championship banner, but it was like a divisional banner.
That is so weak. A
Who
divisional
was that?
banner.
No, I know what it was.
Hey, winning
no,
divisions
that
are
wasn't
tough.
it. It was Tom Brady on his social media went after the Colts or something. They hung like a divisional banner or something.
They did.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh God."
Yes, it was an old
was the
school one.
Deflategate year.
Yep.
Yeah, the Deflategate year.
Hang it out years. Speaking of deflating, all right, Adam Schefter is going to join us this morning. Says Carson Wentz and the Eagles are as good as done. It's just a matter of when. A deflating end to an unbelievable start. I want to talk about this here for the next few minutes because obviously Goff and Stafford has happened. We're waiting for Deshaun, although it's important to note that the Texans this weekend, all reporting, saying at this point, don't even call. He's not available. That's another story for another day, and we'll certainly get to it. I want you guys to listen to this. I dug this out the other day, and this is why you never know, as Key says in the NFL, okay? Always remember this. The Eagles surrendered 5 picks. 5 picks for the right to move up to the 2 spot to select either Jared Goff or Carson Wentz.
Give it to me because this is interesting.
Now listen to this. This is Executive Vice President of Football Operations, Howie Roseman, right after, fellas, the 5 picks were surrendered. They gave up a haul to get to 2, right? I want you to listen to this. I'm not going to kill Howie. I'm going to qualify this, but this is very important. Quote, this is 2016. Remember 2016 draft. When we went and researched and saw what the quarterback classes are going to look like going forward,